welcome to Slow News Day. I'm Steve Poikin, and I am here in the heart of Boulder Creek, California, where the flannel shirt is our state flag, the pit bull is our state bird, and cannabis is our state flower. I am joined this afternoon by my friend and comedian and host of Get Your News On with Ron, and now official net neutrality activist and unofficial life coach to John Delaney, Ron Placone. How's it going, man?
Good to see you. Good to see you again. I can't wait to come back and visit. I did a house show with y'all in the studio, and it's such an amazing space. I can't wait to come back and visit.
You're welcome anytime. I was actually thinking about trying to cook up an idea where where we have a little like camp out cookout here in the mountains right around like the end of harvest season. So if you're not doing anything like before Thanksgiving, you know,
let me know. As long as I'm in town, I am in.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be fun.
LA, so.
Before I think I'll wrap with that. You've been one of my go-to sources for information about net neutrality for a while now, and part of that is because of your activism on it. But you dig out the good information. You present it in a no bullshit way, and you disseminate it to your audience in a way that like a lot of us that don't really understand the tech side of it can at least follow along with why it's happening, who's behind it, and that makes a lot more sense than the legalese. So you're now. How did the thing with the Fight for the Future happen? Because that's what I want you.
So I reference Fight for the Future a lot. I know some of the folks in that organization. We've exchanged ideas before. We've spoke via email and stuff before. They had this project idea. They thought it'd be a good fit to participate in it because they want to do an epic all-day live stream for net neutrality. That was the idea. So they brought me into it, and I was like, yeah, this sounds perfect for me. And so what we're doing is an epic all-day live stream. Before I describe it, I'll just say Fight for the Future. They do a lot of great work for online privacy. They do a lot of great work for net neutrality. So they've been doing a lot of great things. And June 11th, which is the day of our live stream, marks 1 year since the Trump FCC repealed net neutrality. And in that year, we've been fighting back a lot of ways. Like for any of your viewers that might not know, net neutrality is just that which assures a free and open internet. It treats the internet like a utility, like flowing water, like a common carrier in our lives. So websites can't load faster or slower based on their ability to pay. Everybody has access to the full internet. It can't be cut up into chunks like cable television. That's what net neutrality guarantees. We've had net neutrality as long as we've had the internet. We got it solidified on the books in law in 2015. They repealed that in 2017. We have been fighting back ever since. We have been fighting back with state bills that are out there. We had a pretty good bill in California, actually, our net neutrality bill, which was signed by the governor. The states that were passing net neutrality laws, the FCC then took them to court. We've also been fighting back, trying to get Congress to overturn what the FCC did. And we've also been fighting back with municipal broadband, which, I consider those two issues linked. Municipal broadband just takes the internet infrastructure out of the hands of these corporate entities that want to screw us over and into the hands of cities and municipalities, which is where they should have been in the first place. And net neutrality is then written into the charter. So we've been fighting back a lot of ways. Another way we've been fighting back, we had the Save the Internet Act, which passed the House. The Save the Internet Act just gives us net neutrality back. The House passed it, but Mitch McConnell in the Senate said, hey, this bill's dead upon arrival, because he doesn't want the Senate to have to take it up, because everyone that goes against it, that's going to go on their record, and that's hopefully will come back to hurt them. So we're basically on June 11th, we're going to demand they act on net neutrality. We're going to send a message to Congress, to the FCC, and just to the world at large that we still care about net neutrality. We value our free and open internet. We're not willing to let it go. And we're here. So people can go to epiclivestream.com and they can tune in starting at 9 a.m. Eastern time on June 11th. I myself am going to be in D.C. that day, and we might be giving a petition to Mitch McConnell, and we're going to be live streaming that whole thing.
Hell yeah.
So it's going to be really cool. And Steve, you're welcome to appear as a guest on the live stream. If you're willing, I can put you in touch with the scheduling person there.
Oh, hell yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be a good time. There's going to be special guests throughout the day. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be some musicians. There's going to be, we might talk to some people on Capitol Hill. It's going to be a fun time. My cat Lucy, you can't tell, but she's really excited. And and the reason I'm in D.C., if I can plug something else real quick here, the reason I'm in D.C. that day is because the next day, Graham Elwood and I start the East Coast leg of the Progressive Comedy Tour. So June 12th, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. doing a show. June 13th, we're going to be in Baltimore. June 14th, 15th, Philadelphia. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City. And June 19th, Boston, Massachusetts. Tickets for all those shows available at ronplacone.com. Don't wait, East Coast folks. Get your tickets now, ronplacone.com. And again, June 11th, epiclivestream.com. Come help us save net neutrality. We're not going to give up the internet. And Fight for the Future, their slogan, which I really love, let's keep the internet weird.
Hell yeah. And I can't stress this enough too. Like if you're listening, if you're in a town and there's somebody who's coming, like Ron, like Graham, like Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp, buy those tickets ahead of time, because that determines whether or not these guys are gonna come back. If it's a solid thing, if it's a lock that they know that they can come to your town and sell out a show, then well ahead of time they're going to come back. Like, that's just how this shit works. So please pre-order tickets, unless you're just absolutely flat the fuck broke and can't, but encourage other people to. That's my 2 fucking cents on that one.
Well, plus it's cheaper in advance. I mean, that's the way venues work too. It's cheaper to get them in advance than wait until the door. So yeah, get them in advance. It's always good to get them in advance.
When a lot of people glaze over when net neutrality is mentioned, just because we haven't really seen a clampdown on it yet, because it's still ambiguous. Everybody, for whatever reason, however the propaganda worked, they wound up only blaming Donald Trump for Ajit Pai and not seeing it as internet monopolies, really, ISP monopolies.
Yeah.
Having a long game, taking over the FCC and regulating the consumer from the FCC.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming, and we almost lost net neutrality under Obama. And, a lot of folks like to give, Tom Wheeler and Obama a lot of credit that they don't really deserve. I mean, did Obama do the right thing when it comes to net neutrality? Yes, he did. But he did it at the 11th hour, and it's because public pressure demanded it. Tom Wheeler, when the court because what happened was, to just give a quick recap, Verizon and a bunch of big cable companies sued the FCC saying, hey, you can't practice net neutrality. You can't enforce net neutrality on us. You can't do that. They won that lawsuit. The cable companies did. But what the courts told the FCC, they basically said, hey, they won this lawsuit, but if you just designate the internet a Title II classification, which means it's a common carrier, then you can have net neutrality. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They won, but you can beat this thing real easily. And Tom Wheeler was like, well, I don't know. Maybe that's an overreach because I'm a cable lobbyist. And the public said, hey, we're going to demand this to the point where we're going to crash your fucking website, which is beautiful irony, and you better give us our net neutrality. So then Tom Wheeler was like, oh, shit, I better do this or it's going to make me look really bad. Same with Barack Obama. It's going to make him look really bad. And Barack Obama said, yeah, if you don't do this, it's going to make me look really bad. I encourage you to do this. So they did. So, the Obama administration did not give us net neutrality. We got net neutrality. We demanded it. We had it since the free and open net. There have been digital rights activists for years and years and years standing on the front line of this stuff. Organizations like EFF, like Free Press, like Fight for the Future, like Center for Media Justice. It's because of those groups that we have net neutrality, not because of any administration.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be buried in my mentions, but there was something to do with EFF that's local to California, an action that's taking place specifically in Sacramento, centered around some bullshit that they're doing, that the California legislature is trying to do with net neutrality.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm not familiar actually.
it's gonna be lost, which sucks because I meant to grab it before I came in here.
Yeah, well, right now, and I'll look into this too. But yeah, I know right now, as far as California goes, our state net neutrality bill did pass. Governor Brown signed it, and it was a good bill too. I know some people, that they had some issues with some of the bill. I mean, I read it. It's a good net neutrality bill, and right now it's just being battled out in the courts. So we're kind of just sort of playing the waiting game, which is frustrating. But the cool thing is if California gets a solid net neutrality bill, and then someone like New York gets a solid net neutrality bill, well, then we're set, because these big cable companies, they're pretty much screwed, because if they want to unravel all these anti-net neutrality packages that are going to fuck over consumers, but they can't do that in New York and in California, where like a large percentage of their customer base is, they're just screwed. Their profit incentive is just stripped away. So really, we only need a couple heavy-hitting states, California being one, to get a net neutrality bill. But we still got to fight the long fight and get municipal broadband all over the freaking country. And one of the other things I'm really trying to do with Fight for the Future and just at large is to kind of bridge these two movements together. Some of the municipal broadband folks are going to be appearing on the Fight for the Future stream. I'm hoping that, we've reached out. Hopefully they're going to confirm. I really want to bridge these two movements, because really it's one movement. It's the free and open internet movement. It pertains to all of us. We're all fighting the same fight. And we got to kind of see the long game of, we got to get internet into the hands of we the people. And in the meantime, we got to hold the front lines for net neutrality, because if we let that go and we lose the medium, we're not going to get it back.
I couldn't agree more. Are you familiar with Sean O'Brien or the Yale Privacy Lab?
I've heard that name, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not familiar with what they do.
I saw Sean on a Unity for J stream.
Okay.
And so I reached out to him and I had him on the show. And what Yale Privacy Lab does is it teaches seminars on basically how to secure your communications and make sure that both ends of your communications are secure, so that as you go forth in your activism, you are able to communicate more freely. But they also monitor like how we're being tracked, how our data is being used, and then in turn hand all of that over to digital activists, net neutrality activists, stuff like that. Like, they're a wealth of information.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Fight for the Future did something similar to that too, where they did, and this was before I was, collaborating with them on anything directly, but I've been following them a long time. They did a thing where they have this kind of guide that they made on how to secure yourself online, just for whoever's interested in it. And you can go to their website, you can still do that. Like, it's just a step-by-step guide of like, do this, do that, and it's meant for the layperson. So yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff's important.
I think it's one of those things that ties together to where the more we're aware, the more people are aware in general of how the internet is being used and how data is being used against us, the more likely they are to become active in the fight for overall internet right. And his whole gig is open source everything. Open source it so that there's eyes on it who understand what is taking place. And this is equal. This is right along with net neutrality. A free and open internet is open sourced information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's pretty much all the online issues. Like when you look for connections, they're really all there. I mean, even with issues of like different platforms like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. It's like once they get to this point, they should be designated a utility, and that kind of bleeds into net neutrality, because it's like if we designate the internet a common carrier, well then, it's easy to like kind of get to policy like that. So yeah, they're
instead of when Steven Crowder gets demonetized or deplatformed, so does Fort Fisher, who's just...
I haven't read a ton about that particular thing, so I'm not like as up to date on that as some folks are. I mean, I think that, Steven Crowder, I think it's very sad that a grown adult is making money off of juvenile homophobia. I think it's morally repulsive.
Right. I agree.
But when you kind of use that, as a springboard to then start demonetizing other channels on YouTube, that have nothing to do with anything, like that sort of. And this is one of those things. This is why we need it to be a utility. I think that something like a YouTube or a Twitter or Facebook, they need to follow the free speech laws of the United States when they're deciding whether or not certain speech goes too far. So you need people that can make those judgment calls, and a bunch of Silicon Valley tech people, they're not qualified to do that.
They're not.
Like I'm not qualified to do it either. That's why, so it's like they have power that they do not know how to use, that they're not equipped to use. And that's really the issue here. That can, get back to net neutrality as well. Because it's all about, recognizing that this is a utility in our lives.
Yeah, especially when someone like Steven Crowder is the ugly face they hold up while they're erasing literally thousands of channels. And then there's still like all the weird kid channels are still up. But Ford Fisher's just freelance videography is gone. There's a whole bunch of like 9/11 community videos that got taken down, and all that. They just went through like all of the quote unquote conspiracy channels and shut a ton of those guys down. Especially if they were monetized. I don't know if they aren't making money, if they got on the radar or not. But it's censorship where you hold up an ugly face like Steven Crowder, Alex Jones, or whatever, and then all of these pro-Palestinian sites get taken down, or sites that are trying to report on Syria from, hey, look, we have information about the white helmets that you guys might want to know, and then a year and a half later it comes out that that information was correct, that kind of thing. Like they get lost in the mix.
You didn't just freeze on me, did you?
You kind of froze.
You might have.
I can still hear you just fine.
Okay, all right. Sorry, you froze there for a split second. Yeah. And now you're back. All right.
I know you have some short time. I can't stress enough the importance of net neutrality. I would love to be a part of a live stream, the Epic live stream. It's something that only benefits people. Like in every sense of the way.
Yes, my cat agrees.
Your cat's awesome. Her.
I thought she was gonna knock over the microphone. She's like, wow, very graceful, Lucy. She's just missing the microphone with her scratching her ear there. That's good. She wants a treat. It's about that time of the day where she gets her treat.
How's the comic book coming? Or the graphic novel?
Thank you for that. LucyandRon.com is live now. Yeah, we're making a web comic, and it's just comics between me and my cats, and that's live now. LucyandRon.com. You can read some of them. I've written a bunch of them, so they're just coming out a little bit at a time. An illustrator, who knows me from the shows and stuff, reached out, and he's an excellent illustrator. Inked Pixels is his illustrator name, and we've been it's been a fun new project. I haven't had a ton of time to like really push it out there yet, because I've been busy with this campaign and then tours coming up and all this other stuff. But, once things settle a little bit, I'm going to try to, invest in, for fans of felines and punk rock and politics, LucyandRon.com might be for you. So,
are you going to incorporate any of Lucy's radical feminist poetry into the comic?
Oh, yeah. Of course. I
Okay.
mean, pretty much all the ones that are already written are fair game. It's just, when I was first writing them, they were like real dialogue-y because I didn't know if they'd ever become a comic. So we have to do a little bit of, adapting them to comic panels, and so that might affect some of the prose a little bit just for, space sake.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna adopt as many that are already written as possible, and I'm gonna keep writing them. I mean, like Lucy understands. Lucy struggles to understand hockey. That's one of the things that she's into now, and Lucy has some thoughts on 2020, and so.
Do you have a Game
So
5 prediction?
I think
That's
it's gonna be
tonight.
Boston, and yeah, that's right. I'm calling Boston in 6.
Okay.
I just think they're just the better equipped team. Now, in normal circumstances, I would totally be rooting for the underdog, and I'd be pulling for St. Louis a little bit,
Right.
just because it's such an amazing story. They were in last place, but admittedly, not only do I think Boston's going to win, but I also am rooting for Boston because my fiance is also a hockey fan. She even played in high school,
Aw.
and she's from Massachusetts. So Bruins are her team. So So for the lady, in fact, somebody even drew a picture of me in a Bruins jersey.
Oh no.
Which as a Pens fan, I was like, I can embrace that for the next couple of weeks, but I'm not. I actually texted it to her, my fiance. I texted it to her, and I was like, "This is your fault."
Right. And by the way,
But,
it's not going up on the fridge. It's just not.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's been a fun postseason, man. There have been so many unexpected things, and I was a little bummed out when my Penguins got swept, but
Oh yeah.
but it's been a fun series nonetheless.
I was watching out of I'm going to run with overall enjoyment and love of the game, but I was watching to watch the Sharks lose.
Yeah.
Because I'm here in the belly of the beast there, and I'm like one of the lone Chicago Blackhawks fans, and I'm pulling for Boston because original 6 team, and also the fact that like the Chicago Cubs hate the St. Louis Cardinals, so
Right, that's
my
a little regional rival.
yeah, my home team loyalty just, I have this predisposition to not like St. Louis. Your barbecue's not real barbecue. You borrowed it.
Yeah, I feel like all hockey fans kind of migrate together a little bit though, because we're all like, we're sort of we're sort of like the underdog when it comes to sports that are popular in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much so as other sports, but like among the bigger ones, we're the underdog out of the big ones. So it's like we all know what it's like to not be able to get volume on your game at a sports bar because a baseball, basketball, or football game is happening. So I feel like we all just kind of migrate together in a little way where it's like, oh, we both like hockey. You're a Caps person, I'm a Pens person, they're a Blackhawks person. But at least we're huddled in the same corner together trying to watch our game.
Absolutely. No, there's definite camaraderie there. I was watching your show this morning. Like I try to when your show's on, and you should too. You should Get Your News On with Ron. It's Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Monday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. I always say Eastern first. I guess that's how people do it. But yeah.
And you had just such great advice for John Delaney. Who me and Pat kept calling Tom yesterday for like way too long. But you had great advice for John Delaney, and I think you have a future in life coaching. If this
thank you. Yeah, so that guy is just he's a Republican. Like that's all he is. I mean, he's anti single payer. He's anti. He's for the insurance industry. He's for like big. He talks about how we need a businessman in the White House. Like he sounds like Trump. And then of course, but he's like, oh, you're not tolerant of my views. Your views that keep people off of healthcare. Yeah, people booed you for that, buddy. And so I trolled him a couple times on Twitter. And what I was trying to show him was, hey, when a comedian, I've responded to his thread 3 times on 3 different days. Every single time I hijacked his thread, meaning I got more traction and positive, feedback than he did on his own thread. And I'm just like, if a comedian who fucking streams a live show from his 1-bedroom apartment, and by the way, has had no major television success or anything like that. I'm not a celebrity or anywhere close to it. If a mid-level comedian with no mainstream TV under his name whatsoever, who streams a show from his fucking apartment, if that guy can hijack your thread 3 times in as many days, you're not fit to run for president. You're not fit to be in politics. You got to find something else to do. Maybe go sell insurance or something. You seem to be all about private insurance industry. Go sell life insurance or car insurance or health insurance. I mean, go do that. Just you have to do something else at this point, John Delaney. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing your family. It's time to find something else to do. So, I mean, I guess maybe call it tough love, but.
That's what makes a good life coach, though. And I know you got to run, but real quick, at one of my jobs, there's a client who is a life coach, and I have overheard his conversations from his end once or twice. And, like, it may not always sound like this, but what it sounds like is, your opinions are shit, and here's why. Like, and no, you can't do that. What would make you think you could do that? And like that's his life coaching. So you got something going there.
An open letter to the Delaney campaign. If you're watching this, if you need somebody to sit John down and tell him that he needs to not run for president and just stop all of this, I'd be happy to not only do it, but to take some of your money to do it, Delaney campaign. So I am available. Please contact me.
All right, Ron. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I know you got to run.
Yeah. But real quick, before I go, epiclivestream.com, June 11th. East Coast tour right after that, June 12th through 19th. RonPlacone.com for those tickets. Epic Livestream to join us for the live stream to save net neutrality. And Steve, thank you so much for having me, man.
Thank you so much. And this has been Slow News Day. I'm Steve Poikinen, and good luck to us all.